Hey guys, Logan, I'm very proud to be bringing you guys every single solo Call of Duty Zombies world record that there is standing as of January 1st, 2018. Now, this was a very long video to make, and I had a lot of help with it from a lot of different people, so I have to thank them before I get into the video. So first off, I'd like to thank TM2Night. You guys can check him out in the description down below. Please go subscribe to him. He's another YouTuber. He helped me compile all the clips for this video that you guys are going to be seeing right now. This was a gargantuan task, and it took him a long time to do, so please go drop him a sub. I'd also like to thank It's Icing, Mark Van Leerdam, CrashMyBandicoot especially, because he helped me out with a lot of the Black Ops 3 records and getting me some footage for records that haven't actually been made public yet. So huge shout out to those guys. Those guys are also going to be linked in the description down below. Please go and check them out, along with every single person I'm going to be talking about in this video. Every single link is going to be in the description down below. And last but certainly not least, I'd like to thank every single one of you guys that have been watching my videos, subscribing to the channel, supporting me, doing whatever you guys can, and even the people that aren't subscribed right now that are watching this video right now. I really do appreciate you guys checking out my channel and taking the time out of your day to watch my videos. It really does mean more than you could possibly imagine. 2017 was an insane year for me, and I hope that 2018 can be way better. But anyway, let's get right into the video. So starting things off, we have Nocturne and Toten on World of War, and the current world record is around 1,276 by Jim4495. Now, this is a world record that has stood for quite a long time. It's been since, I believe, 2015. Now on to World of War Varuk. The current world record for it is around 809 by a guy named Cell. I don't really know much about him, but all I know is that World of War Varuk is very hard, and he probably had to put a lot of hours into getting this world record. Up next is World of War Shima, and the current world record is around 9,072 by Instakiller. Now, I know some people out there are going to say, oh, this is a really easy world record, there's only 24 zombies around. Yes, it is a really easy map, but still 9,000 rounds, and considering it's World of War on solo, you can't go down whatsoever or else your game is over. And lastly, to end off World of War, we have Darius, and the current world record is around 142 by Private Kickass. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, 142 is a little bit low, why isn't that a lot higher? Well, the reason for that is because in Black Ops 1, that version of Darius is a lot better, and it's a lot less glitchy, so a lot of world record players prefer to play on that rather than the very glitchy version on World of War. And now starting things off with Black Ops 1, we have Kino to Toten, and the current world record is around 227 by ZombieTube. Now, if you don't know anything about this world record, the previous one was marred in a lot of controversy. I don't really want to get into that because it's a really messy situation, but this game solved a lot of issues, believe me, because the world record community was pretty split on it. Up next, we have 5, and the current world record is around 216 by II. Now, I, again, don't really know much about 5 because I personally hate this map, but from everything that I've ever seen from world record gameplays, this is a very tedious and difficult map, so I gotta give him a lot of credit for that because I personally hate 5. Up next, we have everybody's favorite map, Dead Ops Arcade, and yes, I included it in this video because technically it's a zombies map, so leave me alone. And the current world record is actually a joint round 160 by Ben Leb and Frenzy. And up next, we have Ascension, and the current world record is around 221 by Nuker. Now, from what I actually know about this game, when he beat it back in June, he broke a very long-standing world record, and it was extremely hype because a lot of people thought it was probably never going to be beaten before Nuker came around. Now we're moving on to Call of the Dead, and the current world record is around 87 by Oxygen. And again, this is a very long-standing world record, and apparently from what I've heard from a bunch of different people, the world record could probably be pushed up to about around 90, so someone will eventually probably go for it and beat this record. I'm really excited to see where it's going to be at in a year. Up next is Shangri-La, and the current world record is around 193 by Phoenix. And again, this is basically becoming a pattern with Black Ops 1, a very long-standing world record. It hasn't been beaten in a couple of years, and no one's really too sure if anyone's going to actually go back and beat this. There apparently is room for improvement, and you could probably get about around 195 from what I've been told by a bunch of different people, but it's just an issue of is anyone going to go back and play it. Now on to Moon. The current world record for Moon is around 208 by LYQU. I don't really know how to say his name, but again, a pretty long-standing world record. There's not much that I can really say about it other than I know that there's 1 or 2 people out there that are trying to beat the Moon world record right now, but no one's been successful at it. Up next, we have Black Ops 1 Nocturne and Toten, and the current world record is around 144 by Kino. Again, I don't really know how to say his name. Sorry if I butcher any of them, by the way. This is just, throwing this out there. I'm sorry if I butcher any of the names in this video. Some of them are really hard to say. Now we have Black Ops 1 Varuk, and the current world record is around 192 by Sismimon. So I'm sorry if I butchered your name again. I really don't know how to say French names, German names, whatever the hell it is. So I'm sorry if I butchered it, but this was a record that I know he actually grinded out for quite a long time for, so congrats on finally getting it. Up next is Shina Numa for Black Ops 1, and the current world record is around 202 by year adopted. Now, something that's really interesting about this record is, I believe I got this from Nixaru, but if Year Adopted holds this record for a couple more months, it would be the longest standing Black Ops 1 world record in history. And as I mentioned earlier, Black Ops 1 Dries, the world record is currently around 227 by LYQU. Again, I don't really know how to say your name. If there is an actual way to say that, then, I'm sorry, tell me in the comments, but as of right now, I don't know how to say it. But this is the one that basically everyone plays. If you're going to play Dries, you're probably going to play this one or maybe the Giant over on Black Ops 3. Also, I figured I should include this one. The No Man's Land world record right now is 413 kills by Scotty I3. And now that we're done with Black Ops 1, we can start Black Ops 2. And before I get into that, I want to talk to Figsu real quick. If you guys are watching this and you know who he is, or if Figsu yourself are watching this, I'm going to address you real quick. Start titling your goddamn world records on YouTube something that people can actually find. I don't care if you put it in the tags, I don't care if you put it in the title, just make it something that people can find, because when I was trying to put this list together, it was a pain in the ass to track down some of these records that you had. Anyway, starting things off with trends, the current world record is around 146 by Mossy, and personally, I don't even, want to think about how long he had to play Transit to actually do this, so yeah, we're just gonna wipe that from our memories and move on. Up next is Bus Depot, and the current world record is around 82 by Figsu. Now, this is almost a brand new world record. It was only beaten a couple weeks ago, and I know that he was trying for around 83, but he died on 82, one round past the old world record. Now, moving on to Town, the current world record is around 94 by Blops2 HD. Now, I know that apparently there was around 96 gameplay floating around from a couple of different people, but the reason I'm not including it on this list is because it was made with a phone and it was a couple years ago and it was only on the Black Ops 2 leaderboard, so I'm not really going to count that because, again, it was done with a phone, there's not full gameplay, and it looked really shady. Now, moving on to Farm, once again we have Figsu coming in with the world record with around 93, and again, this is basically a brand new one. He's been grinding a lot of Black Ops 2. I believe he's probably going to go for Town next because it seems like he's going after all the survival maps right now. And moving on to Nuketown, the current world record is around 96 by, once again, Figsu. I really should have just titled this, first part of the Black Ops 2 section just Figsu's world records, because he's just got a ton of them on Black Ops 2 right now. And over the course of the last few years, he's had even more than that. And now moving on to Die Rise, the current world record is around 124 by I'm Overcharged, and this video is actually unlisted, so if you guys want to go check out in the description, it's going to be unlisted, and that's because I'm Overcharged sort of quit zombies and then he unlisted all of his videos, but you can still watch them if you had the link before, so it's a really messy situation. I don't want to get into it, but Harry, if you are watching this video, I wish you all the best, buddy. Now moving on to Mob of the Dead, the current world record is around 223, joined by Gamer O'Neill and IL Steve IL, and from what I know about Mob of the Dead, this world record really can't be pushed up all that much more just because of how slow the cafeteria strategy is and how slow inherently Mob of the Dead is to play for high rounds. And up next on our list we have Barry, and the current world record is around 196 by Wonderful, and I know that quite a few people have actually been going for this world record recently, and I was actually in Mark Van Leerdam's stream earlier today. If you know who he is, I'll get into him later in the video, but basically I was in his stream earlier and someone actually said that they just died on round 193, 3 rounds off of the record, and there's a really big push for around 200 on Barry right now. And lastly, to end off Black Ops 2 Zombies, we have Origins. The current world record is around 148 by K-Town Vagsy, and this is one of those records that as soon as it was broken about a month and a half ago, everyone was super hyped up about it because it was a record that had stood for quite a long time and no one was really sure how far we could push the record up. Was 147 beatable? Probably, but no one was really sure if anyone was going to be able to actually pull it off. Well, K-Town did. And so now that we're done with Black Ops 2, we can move on to Advanced Warfare Zombies, better known as Exo Zombies. And to start things off, we have the Outbreak World Record round 174 by Lemonade88. So, a little bit of an interesting fact about all these Exo Zombies world records, none of them have been beaten since 2015. I believe the newest one was like September of 2015 or November, something around there, but none of these have been beaten in quite a long time. And up next we have Infection, better known as Burger Town, and the current world record is round 116 by, again, Lemonade88. Now moving on from that, we have Carrier Zombies, and the current world record is around 130 by Buzzardly. And last but certainly not least, we have Descent, and the current world record is actually a joint world record around 105 by IL Steve IL and Triple Bob 59. So I'm sorry if I really didn't have much to say about Exo Zombies, but not a lot of people are really interested in it, and for these other maps I really can add a little bit of, anecdotes, and I have something to say about them usually, but I just don't for Exo Zombies. So now moving on to Black Ops 3 Zombies, and this is probably going to be the longest section of the list, and before we do get into it, I have to address a couple of things really quickly. One, we're only going to be using post-patch Widow's Wine, and if you don't know what that is, I'll explain that in a second. And also, we're only going with the highest overall round. I don't care what gobblegums they were using, we're just going with the highest overall round. Okay, and so for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, the Widow's Wine grenade thing, basically before a couple months ago when Black Ops 3 Zombies was patched and Widow's Wine grenades were severely nerfed, basically you were able to hold out a Widow's Wine grenade while you were killing a bunch of zombies, and a bunch of new Widow's Wine grenades would spawn in, so essentially you could have unlimited ones that way. But now because of the patch that doesn't work, so Widow's Wine is severely nerfed because of that, and it basically changed the game entirely. Players would essentially always have Widow's Wine grenades before a couple months ago, but now you have to be very smart with them and you have to try to not get hit as much. So because of the ZombieRecords actually wiped out all their leaderboards, and basically everyone decided that, you know what, a lot of those games before that really didn't count because Black Ops 3 was way too easy, and it still is really easy, but it was way easier before that. And now that whole explanation is out of the way, starting off things for Black Ops 3, we have Shadows of Evil, and the current world record is around 231 by Dylan7. Now we're going to be moving on to the Giant, and the current world record is around 255, joint world record by 3 people, and those people are Woodside62, The Gamer's End, and Ashy. And once again, on to everybody's favorite map, Dead Ops Arcade 2. The current world record is around 225 by Swado13. And no, I didn't accidentally say Shadow or I messed that up or something. It's literally Swado. I'll spell that out on screen for you guys. It's really weird. Now on to Der Eisendrache, and this one's going to be a little bit controversial, but the current world record is around 189 by Jumpy. And I know a lot of people are going to say that Mossy has a 213 and that should be considered legit because he didn't use Widow's Wine, but I don't really know if I can consider that because there could be a couple of things that were changed in the patches, so I figured I'd mention it, but in my mind, the 189 is still the current world record. Now for Zetsubou no Shima, the current world record is 229 by CrashMyBandicoot, and real quick I do have to say thank you to him because he actually gave me a lot of help with the Black Ops 3 world records because there was actually quite a lot of them that weren't actually made public yet and people knew about them but there wasn't any gameplay, and it's the same thing with the Zetsubou no Shima record. He wasn't even going to upload any gameplay, but he gave me some to actually put in this video for you guys. Now next on our list we have Der Eisendrache, and the current world record is 189 by Jumpy. Now I know that Mossy has a 213 and he didn't use Widow's Wine in his game, but there could be other things that were patched in between, and I don't feel like going through that entire gameplay, so I felt like I should mention Mossy's game, but as of right now I'm counting Jumpy's 189 as the current Der Eisendrache world record. Up next is Gorod Krovi, and the current world record is around 170 by Dad Won't Hug Me. Now finally on to Revelations. The current world record is around 255 by Dylan7, Inspore Zombies, and CrashMyBandicoot. Now moving on to the Zombies Chronicles maps, we've got Nocturne and Toten, and the current world record for that is around 165 by Buzzardly. Moving on to Verrecta, we've got around 130 by ZFL Quenti. Again, I'm not really sure how to say your name, I'm sorry if I butchered it, but you people have weird names. Now moving to Shinonuma, we've got around 172 by GZTK Darksitters, and I know it's probably Darksiders, but it's not spelled the way that Darksiders should be spelled. Now moving on to Kino to Toten, the current world record is around 188 by Ashy. Now once again I have to give a special shout out to CrashMyBandicoot and to Ashy for actually uploading his gameplay, because from what I've been told by CrashMyBandicoot, Ashy wasn't going to make any of this footage public for anybody. He was probably going to replay his game and then get a better round, but because of this video coming out, he wanted to give me some footage, and I really can't thank him enough for that. And now moving on to Ascension, we've got around 255 by Jeppy, something named 62. Sorry if I really butcher your name. I don't know how to say it, man. And now moving on to Shangri-La, we've got around 153 by C. Nickus. So moving on once again, we've got Moon for Black Ops 3 Zombies, and the current record is 212 by Kill a Cat. And last but certainly not least, we've got Origins, and the current world record is around 221 by Mark Van Leerdam, and I should point this out right now. Again, supposedly there's around 229 by a guy named Lust Science, but he's only restreamed around 1 through 220 on his Twitch so far, and apparently he's gotten to 229, but there's no screenshots of it or anything like that. And Mark is actually in a round 200 game, and he's waiting for him to catch up to the world record, so this guy's basically being a big troll, so I have to put Mark there as the world record because that's the only one that has any footage so far. And wow, that was a mouthful. I'm sorry if I really rushed to Black Ops 3, but there was a lot of world records that I have to cover in this video, so I'm sorry if I didn't put, a little bit of information to each one of the world records, but again, I have to keep this video moving so it's not a really long video, and it's not like 45 minutes long. Now moving on to Infinite Warfare, and starting things off, we have Zombies in Spaceland. The current world record is around 249 by Zombie Menace. Up next, we've got Raven the Redwoods, and the current world record is around 188 by Toby MUFC, and if I have this actually correct, Toby is actually a YouTuber, and he's not really a high round player. I'm not sure how he ended up with this world record, but you know what, good for you. Now moving on once again, we've got Shaolin Shuffle, and the current record is round 115 by Hujen Foggin. I have no idea how to say this name. I'll pop it up on screen again. Like, how do you say these names? Our next map is probably one of the worst ones ever made, Attack of the Radioactive Thing, and the current record is round 100 by Sulky118. Now the last map for Infinite Warfare is kind of interesting, because for the Beast from Beyond on ZombieRecords, there are actually no placing on the leaderboards right now, and that reason is because you have to turn the power on by round 4, and the very popular strategy when the Beast from Beyond came out was to keep the power off, and that way you would only get cryptids and no zombies, and the rounds go extremely quickly, and you can get to about round 500 in about 20 hours. And now that Infinite Warfare Zombies is over, we've only got 2 records left, and fittingly it's for World War II Zombies. So starting things off, we have the final rank, and the current world record is around 176 by No Thumbs. I should point out that this was using the Saw Trap, and this was actually patched, so the world record should probably be lower, but because it's on ZombieRecords and I couldn't really find any comparable games, I'm going to have to put it there. And our last map for this video is going to be Groston House, and the current world record is around 55 by Terra. Okay, so wow, that was a lot of world records, and this video took me a very long time to record. As far as audio, this probably took me about an hour of audio to actually do, to just list everything off, and it'll probably end up being about a 15 to 20 minute video, so that's my estimate before editing and anything like that. So tell me in the comments, was that anywhere close on my estimate? Also, while you're down there, tell me what is the most impressive world record to you out of this entire list. I would really love to hear it. While you're down there, I'd appreciate a like, subscribe if you guys are new around here. Check out everybody that I talked about in this video. TM298, Icing, Mark, all the world record players, Nixar, everybody that helped me out with this video, please go and check that out. And if you could, I'd really appreciate if you guys could share this video around, because, you know, this is one of those videos that took me a long time to do, and I really want people to know what the current world records are, because so many people have so much misinformation about them. But I'm going to get out of your guys' hair. I love you. This is a great 2017. I hope that 2018 is a lot better. Anyway, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.